I did this for you. I did this for the people that watch these videos. I did this as a gift to you. I said I'd see it out, and I made a promise. So, let's talk about the series finale of Rings of Power. Let's talk about a convoluted mess, and some interesting choices, and some big revelations. Like, sub, do the usual. Feel free to join my Patreon or become a channel member for exclusive and early access to content. Let's just rip the bandages off, shall we? The Rings of Power Season 2 finale was nothing short of an unholy mess. A staggering lesson in how to fumble one of the most beloved fantasy universes with all the grace of a Balrog on roller skates. And after weeks of building anticipation and failing, the final episode didn't stick the landing. It launched itself headfirst into the Misty Mountains and was buried under a pile of its own narrative rubble. First of all, we need to talk about the plot holes. This series started with mood lighting and teased a few big revelations and complex character arcs and meaningful connections to Tolkien's world. By the finale, what little potential there was had been unceremoniously shoved off the cliff. An egg cup of water. We were all promised high-stakes drama, but what we got was a tangled mess of half-baked subplots that collapsed under their own weight. 1 minute a character is dead, the next minute they're alive with zero explanation. The big bad villain we had been building up to, poof, dispatched in 5 minutes with all the menace of a particularly lazy Reddit moderator, aka a male Gretel Thunberg with a beard. And what's with the new rings? The show treats their creation as if they're being pooped out of a cereal box, instead of representing something powerful. Where's the gravitas? Where's the meaning? Where's everything behind those rings? Why are they treated with such just dismay? And Vampire Diaries rings. That's what they remind me of, the Vampire Diaries rings. The character development, and if you want the honest truth, who needs that with endless slow motion shots of Galadriel staring pensively in the distance, with all the emotional weight as, my name is Laura and I shop in Waitrose and I play the cello. Seriously? For a series that's meant to be carried by the inner turmoil of its key characters, where is it? Galadriel is in this show reduced to being an emotionless expo dumping machine, spouting out lines of dialogue as if they were cut and pasted from a motivational poster at Elf Boot Camp, or the Orc Office with David Orc in the lead. Actually, I'd watch that show. Ricky Gervais is an Orc. I'd watch that show. Where's her growth? Why is she in a loop of trying and failing at being compelling? As for the supporting cast, they've been reduced to less characters and more walking plot devices like Star Trek Discovery, where the background characters and characters that are quite interesting get pushed aside because, it's the Galadriel show, or the Michael show, or the Ray show. They have all this personality of wooden spoons, and it all just fizzles out into dull fireworks. Hellbrand, well, remember him? My eyes are too close together and my forehead makes Dawson Creeks look tiny. With all the personality of the milkman's son and all the menace of the guy that sits in the special ed class at school. Because I'm pretty sure there's a chromosomal issue with him, because no one can look like that. Why is Hydrocephalus a beauty now? Ugh. Joking aside, I know that one's pretty dark, but none of these characters really do anything. They're just walking plot devices with little to no depth and grimace in the background. Set chewing, nothing more. And it's almost as if the creators thought if they threw enough CGI at the screen, we'll forget about the wafer thin story holding the whole thing together. The battle scenes, it's just empty noise. There's only so many times you can watch armies clash in slow motion before you wonder if someone's actually going to do something interesting. And I mean, you had the big reveal. Spoiler, sweetie. Like, the most feared being in the universe, in the Tolkien universe, just comes across as a discount villain with the charisma of a soggy piece of Limbus bread. The show shouts, "This is important," but forgets to make it feel important. The series has been dangling the allure of Tolkien's universe in front of us for 2 seasons now, but it still feels like you're watching a fan fiction that's trying way too hard to be deep. There's a difference between drawing inspiration from Tolkien's work and stapling a bunch of familiar names into a bland, incoherent story. The Rings of Power falls squarely in the latter camp. Where are the layered moral dilemmas, the sense of ancient history, of consequence that rips through time? Instead, we get ham-fisted dialogue about destiny and the darkness inside us. And if you want the honest truth, it just makes us groan. It's boring. It lacks anything, and it's boring because it lacks depth. It exists to be existential and deep, but we can see through it. It's not enough to carry an entire show. It's like they skimmed through the Cliff Notes version of Tolkien's work and then just copy and pasted some stuff into Word. No, they're that cheap, it'll be open office. And the end was supposed to leave, and I'm not going to give anything away here, but the end was supposed to leave us gasping in shock, but instead it left us rolling our eyes. How could they possibly think we couldn't see this coming? They laid out breadcrumbs that a deaf, dumb, blind hobbit could figure it out in 5 episodes. Oh, I'm sorry, Hereford, because Amazon don't have the rights. When the twist finally dropped, it was like a whimper. Oh my god, this is so shocking. No, it wasn't. We all knew it was coming. It was all happening. Like, if you didn't see this coming, you're an idiot. If you made guesses that were... Like, it was so obvious this is so badly written. I got to the end and me and my friends were just sitting there in dead silence. We watched it with Chinese subtitles and the Chinese advertising was actually very good. It's amazing what you can find on the internet. By the time the credits rolled, one question lingered. What was the point to this? This series has been spinning its wheels for 2 seasons now. And the finale did nothing to justify its existence. You know, the promise of exploring new corners of Middle-earth. No, we're revisiting very familiar locations a lot because nostalgia. Exploring the mythos. No, this show has developed into a bloated, convoluted soap opera with none of the magic or depth we were hoping for. In the end, Rings of Power... It wasn't even disappointing. It wasn't even infuriating. It's a kind of misfire that makes you wonder how much time, money and talent could result in something so hollow. For a show that has every opportunity to rise to greatness, instead it chose a path of mundanity, of falling into the traps that every modern television series falls into. I genuinely just... It just exists. It just exists. It just exists. That's all this show is. It exists. It I didn't feel anything when I watched it. I come out this last episode, me and my friends were like, well, that's over. It was embarrassing. This show exists because of a contract, and it's costing Amazon a butt ton of money. Oh well, their loss at the end of the day. It's already in Acolyte territory.